Police Minister Bheki Cele was on the ground in the northwest today. He led a law enforcement team to the crime scene where firearms caches were discovered and illegal miners arrested. 20 suspects were apprehended during the joint operation at a mine shaft in Stilfontein. Authorities have been increasing efforts to combat illegal mining after the brutal attack in Krugersdorp by suspected Zamazamas back in July. Let's unpack this further with Police Minister Bheki Cele. Minister, thank you so much as always for your time. So let's start off with this. These are believed to be illegal miners, and we've seen similar arrests of large numbers of suspected illegal miners across the country in a nationwide crackdown. Last year, even in October, we saw more than 80 miners arrested in Orkney, that operation leading you to yesterday's operation. But in order for any real lasting impact, we of course have to see convictions. So can you tell us where your investigations are into various rings of Zamazamas across the country so that we can ultimately secure prosecutions in these cases?
Well, good evening to you, Andy. Good evening to the viewership. The job of the police is to investigate and hand over to the other segment of law enforcement. That would be a prosecution, magistrate, the judges, as we go to correctional service and all that. As you ask now, where are we? Maybe let's take the figures that you have raised of about 87 people that were arrested October last year in Orkney. All those people will appear in court tomorrow. All of them except one, they are in custody. No one has received the bail or released, which tells us that after a year, people still there. It tells us that is a serious case going forward. Indeed, there are other people that have been arrested and charged by the court of law, and those matters are in court. The other one was the one that was in Rustenburg, where 3 people were arrested. We are still chasing 3, and most of those people either they're out on bail or are still in custody. The charges are quite serious, but one cannot vow what happens since that is not our segment, that is a court segment.
I understand, Minister, that at some point the police has to hand over to the criminal justice system to effect these prosecutions. But the police's work in gathering that evidence is absolutely critical. Is it very hard for someone to be convicted of illegal mining, and do the police have to catch them in the act? What kinds of evidence are the police looking for?
Well, I think for the fact that these 87 could not find the bail for a year, which means it's a serious case. But there are several issues that people are charged for: the illegal coming in the country, the theft, illegal mining. Most of the time, including today, is a possession of illegal firearm, the ammunition, breaking the law of firearm, as I've said, the theft. So it is a range of illegality which is serious. As around those laws, the police they make their investigation. Sometimes they are charged for murder. Sometimes they are charged for attempted murder. For instance, the same group that you talk about, because they were armed last year and they engaged the police, 6 of them died. That group of people are charged of the murder of the people that they were together with them. But because they shot at the police, they were arrested for the attempted murder on the police. So I guess those are serious offences that the court will have to find, including murder, attempted murder, and others.
So part of this raid that took place yesterday was the recovery of AK-47s, hunting rifles, shotguns, 6,000 rounds of ammunition. How are these alleged illegal miners so heavily armed, and where did these guns come from?
Well, that's a question I asked from the police. So that investigation is continuing where these guns come from. AK-47s are not in the systems of South Africa. Mostly would be coming from outside the country. We have our suspicions which country they come from. The hunting guns, we have several of them that they were robbed around the houses there, some of them from the farms. They have been reported before. There are 6 of them, and those are and 2 palm guns, and there is 1 R5. There is 1 source of R5, and that is from the police. South African police. Unfortunately, its serial number has been rubbed off, but we are investigating to find out if it is not the part of those that are stolen from the police, or part of those that police themselves they steal. Some of these guns are stolen from SP13 by the police and sell them there, as it happened in one police station in Gauteng, as it happened in Cape Town. But some of them, they cross the border illegally together with illegal people. Those 20 people, 13 of them are illegal in South Africa, coming from Lesotho, 1 from Eswatini, 1 from Zimbabwe, and 6 of them, they come from South Africa. So it's a combination of this illegality of movement of people and carrying illegal firearms, and this huge amount of ammunition, 6,000 sealed boxes coming from the factory, wherever they came from. But there was sophistication in that group. All the people that we found, they've got cell phones. They have even their special created Wi-Fi for themselves, because some of them are digging 2.5 kilometers underground. So they created a special Wi-Fi to be able to communicate. So the group of 20 people that we have arrested is a group of sophisticated, though they're at level 1.
So when we talk about any level of sophistication in crime, we have to ask the question, are these syndicates? We've spoken about Zama syndicates before numerous times. How close are we to identifying the kingpins of these syndicates and to identifying where the minerals are ultimately going?
Well, as a person in news, last week, you know that police arrested 6 people. We regard those people as top level 2 and 3. Those are the guys we arrested in Carltonville. They are living a very soft life. They are having very expensive furniture, all import. You saw the cars they're driving. The cheapest car they're driving there is 800,000, but they are driving the top of the range cars, very high-powered cars. So we have arrested those. Those are 2 and 3, and those will lead us to 4. There are people that we are working on at the level 4, level 4 and 5, but a special 5, they are either national or international. The Hawks have moved from level 1. Level 1 are those that we arrest every day, including today. 2 and 3 are those that we have begun to arrest, as you saw those 6 guys that we have arrested. 4 and 5, we are putting our eyes on them, and some of them are really now known by the Hawks and the Special Investigation Units, organized crime, and those that they deal with illegal mining and all that. So we are moving towards that direction. Very soon we'll be there at the upstairs and find those that are whining and dining at the expense of the people that die down there in the shafts.
I'd like to get an update on the sensitive Krugersdorp gang rape case from you. Where are police in those investigations at the moment?
Well, the police, as you know, that 14 people have appeared in court. They'll be appearing soon. I've lost the date, but they're appearing soon again. And I must reveal that somebody else on the organizer side has been arrested. There is one more person to those that were organizing this matter who has been arrested by the police. That happened yesterday. Police, they believe that among the organizers there was something wrong, so they believe they have evidence to arrest that person. The issue that we are not conclusive at the present moment has been the DNA, but those people were positively identified by the victims, and those investigations are going on, including the people or some people that were there, especially from the male side. That investigation is going on.
Moving our focus slightly away from the mining issue, but that still has an impact specifically also on that Krugersdorp case. We know that the forensic evidence and samples in that case were fast-tracked, but in many cases, and that cannot be done for everybody. And we know that there is a huge DNA backlog that the police are working on. Last week, Amnesty International called for your intervention specifically to try and find a quicker solution so that victims of gender-based violence will not be denied justice. Can you tell us what progress is being made there?
Yes, I saw the call. Also, the call went to the board. I was fortunate to meet the board, the DLN board last week. The progress is quite huge. It could be better, but it's quite huge, the progress. One progress that we have made is that the NPA works together with the laboratory to say those cases that are caught ready from the side of the prosecution, but police have not finalized them, and those are fast-tracked. There's 14,280 of those cases, so that's a number. But the board and the laboratories themselves, for the effort that we have put there, we believe that by November, the latest December, we would have done with the backlog, and we will be dealing with the new cases as they put there. Several things have been done on this one. Contracts, 16 of them were allowed to lapse. Those all are renewed, they are there. Extra staff that was allowed to leave the system, 24 of them. In Cape Town, we've brought back 20 in Pretoria. We've brought back 8 of those people. And machines, new machines have been added. The maintenance of machines, the contracts are all there. The building of the new laboratory in Eastern Cape is going to be finalized in February. That will ease the load of Western Cape because there is quite many of samples going there. So we believe that the capabilities and capacity that we have put there will help us that such a thing doesn't happen again after we finalize and finish the backlog. That we expect to finish it come November, December.
So no doubt that extra capacity in the forensic space is going to be required with the 6 bodies discovered in Johannesburg over the weekend. Those bodies at this stage believed to be those of sex workers. We know that one suspect has appeared in court. He's facing 1 charge so far until investigations can look at connecting the other bodies to him as well. What do you make of that case? Are we likely looking at a serial rapist or serial killer here? And will extra resources be assigned to this case to try and figure out what's going on?
Well, indeed, we do put extra resources as they are required. But remember, we do arrest several serial rapists, including last month. The other one was sentenced to many life sentences because it does happen. And indeed, on this one, we have this one case that has been positively linked. We are looking at the 5 more, but there's been an allegation that there are more bodies that are still missing there. The case has been assigned on the elite unit. The the Hawks to work with the organized crime, to work with the FCS, that is a specialized unit when it comes to the abuse, rape, and sexual assault of women. For that, it has been escalated to the level of the brigadier who's responsible for the FCS in the province, Brigadier Zulu, that are dealing with that. The case has been prioritized already. We believe that it will be cracked. One person, as you know, is in the hands of the police. We hope that will lead us in the easy road to find exactly broadly what happened.
Last question before I let you go. Minister, a German tourist was recently murdered in Mpumalanga, believed that they were going to be visiting the Kruger National Park. In the reporting on that story, it came to light that there's just simply not enough policing in the area. And certainly, as we head towards the festive season, when we find many international tourists visiting our country, those tourists, as well as the people of South Africa who travel more broadly to spend their holidays in other parts of the country, want the assurance from the police that they will be safe. Can you talk to us about operations to increase policing all around the country, specifically where tourist areas are concerned?
Well, as you know, that a Minister of Police went there and Minister of Tourism met the family, especially the wife of the victim. We went to this road near this gate that is notorious. I heard somebody saying it's not notorious. The gate is notorious. And for the fact that out of 11 incidents where tourists have been robbed there, both South Africans and international tourists, along that stretch of road that might be 7 kilometers going to the gate, 5 of those have happened in that particular road. But others, they happened in other places there in Mpumalanga, around the lodges and all that. So we have worked on the matter, as you say, the increase of police and working together with the private companies on that stretch of road, and other areas where people have been robbed. But the real solution there, the Premier of that province, together Tourism and the Ministry of Police, we are working on bringing all the role players, including the agencies and the companies that are responsible for these lodges. There are issues there that need to be resolved. The issues of the land that people have claimed, and it looks like there is a bad relationship between the communities around that area and these lodges and the Kruger National Park itself. So the lasting solution will be when the relationship between these bodies, including the community, is improved. It is on that score that all these role players must come together. But at the end of the day, they must go and speak to the communities, and the grievances of the communities around that place must be resolved, and make the communities to be extra eyes, to be extra ears of the law enforcement in protection of the tourists and all other people around that area. So that process has been set. We have started. We are trying to find the date to be able to all come together as role players in that matter.
Minister Cele, I know I've taken a lot of your time already. Thank you so much for bearing with me. One more question, if you will, just before I let you go, seeing as we've already got you here. Could you give us an update on the Nomzamo Tavern shooting? There was a possibility of further arrests of Lesotho nationals. Can you tell us whether any progress has been made in that case?
Well, there are 5 people that have been arrested, appeared in court, but we have other names, and unfortunately those people are on the other side of the border. So police can't just cross and go and fetch those people. So we need to follow procedures, involve the Minister of DEC, of International Affairs, involve the diplomats, and involve the police themselves in working for those people to be able to be brought back in South Africa to face the music of the crime that they've committed. 5 years are in our hands. We've managed to arrest that, but we expect to get some more people that will be brought in South Africa from Lesotho.
Well, thank you very much for your time again, Police Minister Bheki Cele, giving us an update on a range of issues there, starting especially with the national crackdown on illegal mining and an operation